2.
Welcome to Side Effects. I'm Scott McGohan.
And I'm Marie Singleton.
We have a guest with us this morning, Betsy Westhafer. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, perfect.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to
Thanks.
Brabender.
It's so fun to be here.
Well, we appreciate it. You've been a Dayton native for 26 years?
26 years, originally from Evansville, Indiana.
Awesome. Terrific. One of the things that is really interesting about Side Effects, we hope, is the fact that we kind of go from talking about healthcare, maybe the chaos of healthcare, the strategy of healthcare, benefits,
employee interaction.
And then the other thing that we really want to talk about, it's really important to us, is leadership and the impact of leadership. And one of the big benefits of Side Effects is what we want to be able to do is just talk about things and not be afraid to ask tough questions or talk about tough topics.
Right.
So Betsy, you were here a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
Took a look at our new studio.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, so we're kind of proud of it, and we're grateful.
Getting used to being in here, which is a little different than our other smaller space.
You actually have to like dress up.
Well, you have to just know that the camera's going to look at you. So
Right.
This is the best it gets. We had said before that you had a face for
Radio?
Yeah, and so now that's
How does my face look
out
now?
the window. It's good. It's
Great.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How's life treating you?
It's fine. It's fine. You know, I want to just tell you a story and our listeners a story. So we went to, speaking of leadership, the Dayton Development Coalition had their annual meeting yesterday, and that room was packed full of leaders. How many people were there? 700? 800? It was standing room only. Leaders from the military, leaders from private industry, leaders from public officials, and talking about collaboration and working together, and it was just a really cool event. And then something funny happened at the end.
Yeah.
Scott forgot his coat.
I get there, and there's 700 people there, and everyone has a dark overcoat. So I go to hang up my overcoat, and Sarah's with me, and I said, "Hey, Sarah, could you hold my keys? Because I don't want to have someone take my coat, and then I can't, get home."
Right.
Yeah.
And Sarah has a purse, so that's why Sarah
Yes, she
has
puts in her
some
purse, and
keys.
we get after the event, which was amazing and terrific, and she hands me my keys, and I go out the door. I drive home, and I get out of my car, and I'm like, it's cold. And I'm like, I forgot my coat. So back to downtown Dayton.
Oh, shoot.
8:30 at night, pounding on the doors. Nice guy opened the door,
And
and now I have my coat.
That's right. That's awesome. But the point of the story, and to embarrass Scott, of course, priority number one, but number two was really just to talk about leadership and collaboration and what we saw there and what it takes to make a community go and to make a business run and to make people successful. And you're here today to talk about leadership.
Yeah. To leadership and collaboration, two of my favorite topics.
So when you talk about being here 26 years, kind of unpack what you've done over the last 26 years. Where you been?
How much time do we have?
12 minutes.
So yeah, I moved here in 1990. First thing that happened when I moved here was the Reds. I think it was 90. The Reds won the World Series. So I'm like, oh, I like this town. This is exciting. It's fun. So I was a stay-at-home mom for 12 years, and then I started my career mostly freelancing. My degree's in journalism, and did some freelance editing and proofreading for agencies around town, and then kind of ventured into various different entrepreneurial ventures. And I worked for Guillen Group and did facilitation and development of executive level customer advisory boards, which was the best education I could possibly get, because I was getting to sit in boardrooms with Dell and LexisNexis and VeriSign and just hearing them build their business models and their strategy and their marketing plans way out in front. It was a phenomenal experience. And then from there I went to the Dayton Development Coalition.
Okay, how long did you work there?
I was there 2.5 years.
Okay.
And that was fun because I worked in the entrepreneurial signature fund. So I was out looking for tech startups to find to invest in. So that was really great thing, and great way to meet leaders in the community. And so just various things. And most recently I have ActionMasters Network, which is a lot of personal and professional development. I lead mastermind groups and do some performance coaching. But my real passion is journalism. So in a couple of weeks, another company I have is called Rise Global Media, and we're getting ready to launch a magazine called Thought Masters, which is all thought-leading content from leaders all around the world, actually. And so we have one of our featured authors right here. So in our premiere issue, we'll have an article from Scott. So we're very excited about that. And
I'm not sure it's a mastermind.
It's a thought
it's
master.
a thought-leading piece of
Gotcha.
content.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still a
That'd be a good
master.
name for a superhero.
Still a,
right?
Yeah.
Please don't tell him that. He has
Yeah.
a series of capes. There
I
might
do.
be another one
There
coming,
you go.
coming
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah, so yeah, that's what I'm doing. I love the fact that technology allows me to work from anywhere, and so I have a partner in Louisiana named Chris Canaday, and so we're on Zoom calls every day doing our work stuff, just like we're in the same building.
So when you think about interviewing a leader that's interesting, what are traits that you're really curious about?
Yeah, so it's really funny. I've gotten to see a lot of different leadership styles over the years, and what I'm finding to be the most exciting and most successful trait that the leaders that I talk to have is those that do not want to be the smartest person in the room. The ones that are
Excellent.
always hiring to get an outcome. In fact, I'm taking a course right now called The Unshackled Owner. And it's taught by my mentor, and yesterday we were talking in the class about how you hire for outcomes, in qualities. You don't really hire for the skill set on the resume. You really want the right qualities, and you want to say, hey, you were brought in to achieve this outcome. How are you going to do it, and how can we support you?
Right.
And so the leaders that can convey that and then support people so that they do their job really well, those are the best kind of leaders, I
So
think.
how do you score for that? How do you interview for that? Looking at a resume and a set of skills is easy, right? I went here, I did this, I did this, my grade point was this, or I worked this many years at a particular company. That's easy to look at. But
Mhm.
how, for say a recruiter or someone hiring at that more senior level or executive level, how do they score for that? How do you do that?
Yeah, that's where it's really subjective. But so much of it is culture fit. It's talking to them, understanding what they're about, where they come from, what they see. Just trying to key in. And I'm not an HR professional by any stretch, but just trying to tap into the qualities to figure out whether or not they're a fit, whether or not they're high integrity, whether or not they're a team player, whether they can see into the future, and it's really subjective.
I'm a big believer in the 3 C's. So there's character, competency, and then chemistry. Because there's really smart people, but if they don't connect with your workforce and people,
Yeah.
it's going to be really, really hard.
Right, I
So-
would add communication to that too,
Well,
because they have to be able to articulate their vision and communicate well with others too.
So if you talk about, okay, so you found someone really interesting, so then unpack maybe someone wouldn't be interesting. Successful, right?
Okay, yeah.
Successful,
Yeah.
maybe even visible,
Mm-hmm.
but no, not interested. What traits would be in that person?
Probably the thing that just jumped.
Don't think of me when
Don't,
you look.
or me. You
Yeah.
can look out there.
The first thing that jumped to my mind when you asked me that question is somebody that's different depending on who they're with. Whether or not
yeah.
they're, if they're at a big event like yesterday and they're trying to be all that in a bag of chips
Right.
at a big event where they're seen, but then you see them in the parking lot later and they don't have the time of day for you.
Right, not an authentic
Right.
person.
Right. That's the first thing. I think too, when they're more interested in their own career path versus the success of the company as a whole. And I've seen some of that, and it's unfortunate because they may be very, very talented,
Right.
but they have a personal mission versus the mission of the company.
Yeah, it's interesting. So we
Point.
talk a lot about someone's their false self, right? And a lot of us starting out in leadership or in roles, we have a false self, right? We
Yeah.
have to be confident, even when we're not.
Mm-hmm.
And over time as leaders, we kind of evolve, hopefully, fortunately, from a false self, right, to a true self.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us don't get there, unfortunately,
Yeah.
but some of us do. So what do you see in great leadership that kind of moves from confident false self, or what I would say what you just said is masks?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I'm going to wear a mask at home, a mask on the golf course, a mask in front of a client, a mask at home, which is
exhausting.
tiring.
Exhausting. Yes.
I think it's humility. I think when you can say to somebody, you know what, I'm still learning with you. You know, like my mentor has several multi-million-dollar businesses. He still goes and gets mentored. You know, you just never say I made it, and you know, he continues to get smarter. So there's a level of humility about that.
That's a really good point. You know, one of the things I was looking at when I was learning about your organizations is many of the services that you have under your Action Masters are for entrepreneurs who are seasoned, who have businesses, who've been in business a long time. It's not really geared towards the brand new entrepreneur. And so oftentimes people think, well, I have my own company, I've been successful, why do I need coached? Why do I need someone else's opinion? And that goes back to what you're saying, is that humility of having a coach is an honor, right? Or is a way to improve. It's not because you're not good. It's because you want to be better.
Right. You can always make progress and be better. And I think it's getting better, but I think personal development has been kind of an underrated thing in the world of business. I think people see it as too woo-woo and the universe and all that kind of stuff.
Can you even imagine, so you say that, and that's a great point. So coach, so Super Bowl Sunday.
Right.
Can you imagine those two teams showing up?
No coaches.
No coaches.
No. Just let's go.
Mayhem. Very successful people, right?
Right.
Very talented.
Everybody's injured. Who
compensated at the highest level.
Right.
No coaching.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And if you're not a football fan, you may or may not know, I mean, there's not just a coach, right? This is not high school, or even in high school they have multiple. There's like defensive coaches, offensive coaches. What else is there? I don't know. There's like 10 coaches, right? Or more.
Yeah, and I have different coaches depending on what it is. I have somebody that coaches me on my just my mindset and intentionally creating the life I want, like a life mastery coach. Mm-hmm. I have a business coach, and depending on where you are, those people may change in and out, depending on where you are in your business, where you are in your life. So, I'm a big believer in coaching, and it's just been really a turning point for me when I started realizing I really need to go that route. And then I got trained to do a lot of the performance coaching, so I love being able to help people do that as well. And, I want to jump in just for a second. The post you made yesterday on LinkedIn about everything, you can fix your thinking versus fixing your problems.
Right.
I loved that post because it all starts with a thought. Right?
Yeah, I think the whole thing is what's really important to me is because I wasn't a humble guy, right? And I was successful. But then I had my own internal and external wake-up call. So I had someone call me on the carpet. And I got a coach 15 years ago, right? And it was really, really important to me. And my dad always said, one of the most important relationships you can have in your life is the relationship with the person in the mirror. So when you look back at yourself, how is that relationship with you? Because ultimately, that's the person that's going to lay the head on the pillow. And so when I drive and I think about different things, I think about, things that I struggle with, like thinking. And I think sometimes as leaders, we're afraid to tell people, hey, I'm afraid of this, or I'm scared, or this is troubling to me. I think when we say that, and we're not afraid of it, it lets other people know, like, oh my gosh, I'm not alone.
Right.
I'm not alone.
That's, I was going to say before you even said that, is the problem, as I see it, is that when you are a leader in an organization, and at the top, like in your role as the CEO, or anywhere near there, who do you talk to, right? Because if you go to your boss and you say, hey, I'm having this issue, it might look like I don't know how to solve this, and they may think that I'm not qualified to do this. If you go to someone who reports to you and say, hey, I have an issue, you might feel like, well, I'm going to lose respect from my direct reports because I can't solve this either. And you get all these thoughts in your own head. And so sort of lonely, right, in that leadership level. And, how do they recognize, hey, I need some help? And then where do they go for it, right? If you don't want to maybe tell another business owner that's a buddy of yours, I don't know how to solve this problem. They might also think, you're not qualified.
I think, really honestly, about that, and vulnerability is incredible. And ego and pride chokes us from that. So think of the movie like Rudy, Seabiscuit. And I think in life,
That's 2 movies.
People love, is it 2?
2, Rudy.
You want another one?
Yeah.
Okay. But people love underdogs.
Right.
So you think of like basketball, so, March Madness is coming up. Society will fight for underdogs. Why? Because most people think they're an underdog.
Mm-hmm.
So if you act like an underdog, right, people will fight. And then the mystery and the secret in that, and quite frankly, the beauty in all of that, is they might even start fighting for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what great leaders do, is inspire and encourage people.
I think it's a hard first step, though. I mean, I really do, because I talk to a lot of people, and I think that any sign of weakness, and this isn't necessarily a gender thing, it might even be worse for women. Like women don't want to ask because we're making it in this business world. We've, come a long way. There are women in almost every business you look at, and you don't want to say, like, I don't know how to do this. Like, how do you get help, right?
That's, and sometimes it's stepping outside of your own arena. Like, for example, the mastermind groups that I facilitate, we do online, and they're people from the business world but have nothing to do with your world. So they can be a fresh set of eyes. They can give you perspective. There's no risk. Like, they're not going to go tell, your competitor up the street that, oh, they're kind of struggling, So I think a lot of times it's really reaching out beyond your geographic boundaries and finding those people that might be able to relate, but aren't going to, it's a safe environment.
Right, feels
basically.
safer.
Yeah.
And I think Scott and I are in a similar position. I have zero problem saying, I've screwed this all up, like, can you help me? And I'll remember a day I called you, I had been here maybe a year. And I said, all right, we worked on this group. We didn't get it. I don't know what I did wrong. And you go, you're calling me to tell me you didn't win? And I was like, well, yeah, I didn't win. I'm not having this happen again. Like, how do you help me fix this? And you were like, wait a minute. You didn't get the group. I was like, right. So for me, like, it seems obvious, right? But I don't know that I'm wired that way internally, or my mother taught me, through shaping. Something made me that way. But it's not a natural reaction for all leaders.
Yeah. I read something the other day about how some leaders will say, like, if somebody comes to you and says, hey, we have this problem and you really need to know about it, and they're like, don't come to me unless you have a solution. And how bad that is.
Right.
Because somebody may need to know, you may need to know something, and this person may not have the solution, but they're bringing it to your attention. And so a better response would be, wow, thank you for letting me know. Now, we don't have the time or the resources to address that right now, but will you be thinking on it and helping me come up with a solution? Because then they get more engaged. They feel heard that, my noticing this could be really good and valuable to the company.
Excellent point. I hear that all the time. And especially, hey, so I'm a solution-based. So you got, and then how paralyzing is that to somebody? So not only does the solution have to be there, but it has to be a good one.
Right.
So then I think, I'm stupid, right? I'm not smart, I can't figure this out. And it chokes curiosity.
And creativity.
Yeah.
And progress.
Well, and the other thing, too, it divides. Because then if they say, just go back to work, I got stuff to do, you got stuff to do, then when this thing blows up because it wasn't addressed, the person who's bringing it to your attention is like, oh, I tried to tell them.
Right.
And then it creates an us versus them kind of thing, which you don't want in your organization. So to avoid that, you just make sure that you hear what they're saying and even capture it visibly, like on a whiteboard or something, like a radar. This is what we need to pay attention to. We can't do it right now, but
it's here.
But it's here, and thank you, Bob, for bringing it to our attention.
Hey, as we kind of like wrap up, so kind of talk to our viewers about what you're doing electronically.
Okay.
And maybe where they go and look at that
Okay.
and learn more.
Yeah. So it's called Thought Masters Magazine. Like I said, it's thought leading content. So we're looking for people that want to contribute content. We want to get some really good leading edge thinking out there to our readers. Our readers are professionals who, again, just want to know more, want to know what's out there, kind of have a vision on the horizon kind of thing.
Is this print-based or online?
It's digital.
Okay.
And what we do, we'll email it to people, and if they have a subscription, free subscription. And to get a free subscription, you can just text the word Thought Masters to 444-999. And that'll get you a subscription. And then what we're doing is we're releasing a full issue the first Wednesday of the month. And then every Wednesday, we're going to send you 1 or 2 more new articles just directly to your inbox so you can look at them real quick, see what's going on, go about your day. So it'll be just a steady drip of thought-leading content that you can count on to receive every
And
Wednesday.
we'll put that text number on healthierbirthdays.com, so you can pick that up there, send your text, get your free subscription that way.
Great,
Perfect.
thank
Well,
you
Betsy,
so much.
So,
thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much for the
And
invitation.
those that are listening and watching, thank you. Leadership is important to everybody. Vulnerability is important, humility. And so one of the things we would ask, maybe even our viewers, are there topics you'd like to learn more about? We are certainly very self-aware in regards to healthcare, what's going on in our market, this $3 trillion economy, as Ann and I debate this back and forth. But leadership topics are really interesting. So if you have something that you want to learn more about, Ann and I are certainly willing to bring people in
Yep.
and just have a conversation.
Yeah, so you can email us at ann@healthierbirthdays.com, or,
Scott@healthierbirthdays.com.
and we appreciate you being here.
Have a great day.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks. That was fun.
Thank you.